Great good morning, everyone. It is a frigid but beautiful Wednesday, January 28th, year of our Lord 20 and 26. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he, broadcasting today from the United States of America. I'll be able to prove it when we put all these clowns in jail and deport the illegal criminals. It's also the place where the brave, like the veterans, who we lost last year in this, but celebrate today thanks to John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. The United States of America, founded with a certain knowledge and understanding by our incredible founding fathers, that the government would not be, could not be, shall not be our parent, our guide, our direction, our salvation. Not any of these things, but is nothing more than a necessary evil we require to organize and protect society. The United States of America, the country where, for the first time in human history, freedom was declared to be an unalienable right granted to each individual by God. Freedom couldn't be parceled out to groups. It couldn't be controlled by government or government officials because our great American Constitution ensures and codifies freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of association, economic freedom, and freedom of the press, whether they lie or not. Now, armed with these freedoms, and only because they had them, a ragtag bunch of immigrants, rejects, and their progeny went on to create the richest, most powerful, most culturally diverse and accepting nation ever to grace our planet Earth. America, the only place specifically invented and designed so that every American can live their life in the manner they choose, unlimited by their background, upbringing, race, color, or creed, unhindered by the government or those who would use government to control others for their own comfort, benefit, or power. This Bob Cordaro Show, it will always be convincingly conservative, lovingly logical, proudly and passionately patriotic, and reliably right. And so, as I look at my Picardo Jewelers watch, it tells me it's 9:16 and change. We gavel to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you a sanctuary of sanity in a world where a certain percentage of the population, i.e., ICE protesters, and the Democrat Party has gone completely insane. You almost check yourself. You say, well, wait a minute, am I missing something? Am I missing something? Whew. Well, they certainly are. The willfully dumbest people on the planet. Silly followers of an insane agenda and philosophy that hates this country. Absolutely hates this country. It's sick. And now they broke into a New York City Hilton hotel. I guess because the government has a Hilton honors program or whatever. And they broke into the lobby of a Hilton hotel to protest that Hilton is allowing ICE officers and other federal officers to stay in their hotel chain. And what does Mamdani say? He doesn't send the cops. He commends the protesters. Now, quite obviously, the vast majority of people at that hotel have nothing to do with ICE or the federal government, number one. And they have their stay, maybe the vacation of a lifetime, disrupted by these a-holes, by these disgusting, stupid people. Unbelievable. And they get commended for it by the sick communist mayor of New York City. It's just astonishing. Hey, when I think of this idiocy, and by the way, they were protesting at Fetterman's office yesterday. These idiots out in the snow, out in the freezing cold, not having a clue what they're talking about. They don't have any idea what they're talking about. None. But just like the phony in our little montage at the beginning of the program, well, they're not going to take any of these people in. They're not vetted. They don't know who they are. They're not going to take a criminal illegal alien into their house, that's for sure. Phonies, hypocrites, liars, sad. So when I think of something that gets me in a lather, I want to think and mention for the first time our veterans group today. Joseph Salerno of Exeter, Paul Achman of Kingston, Lieutenant Carol Lazzari, Jefferson Township, Eugene Barchese, Dunmore, Joseph Gushowitz, Scranton, and Thomas Kosholik, Wilkes-Barre, the Brookside neighborhood. Those are the veterans we'll be honoring thanks to John Basiliga and his Basiliga Hospitality Group. And yesterday, something really special happened. Our guy, Rob O'Donnell, in the afternoon, he gets word from I don't know if it was from the funeral home or whomever, but a texter sent him information on a veteran that had no family or friends. He'd been in a personal care or nursing home, and he was having his services at 11 o'clock or 7 o'clock last night. This is by the way, this is about 5 o'clock. So Rob gets this, and he starts reaching out to a lot of different people. The Navy officers, all of this. He reaches out to Rob Bresnahan's office. And the event was at 7 o'clock at the Howell Lussey Funeral Home, Wyoming Avenue, West Pittston. And this Pastor Kelly had reached out. Well, Rob starts talking about it on the air. He passes it on to Crockett on our Froggy station, studio right next door. He reaches out to Congressman Rob Bresnahan, who we're going to have on at 11:05 today. I want to talk a little bit about that for sure. I asked him. And Rob Bresnahan and his wife Chelsea show up. Full regalia. I mean, Navy people all over the place. And by the way, Channel 16, my God. A United States congressman goes to a forgotten hero's funeral home and funeral service. And he's sitting there with his wife. Not looking for publicity, but Channel 16 shows up. They don't even mention he's there. There's a left-wing force on Channel 16 News that is a disgrace. But anyway, separate issue. They pack the funeral home for this service. And it is, I saw it, parts of it. And it was absolutely beautiful. And just a home run. And this veteran was laid to rest, Jeffrey Kalnas. He was laid to rest in honor and dignity and with a lot of people who cared that this veteran had passed away. Jeffrey Kalnas, last night. So thanks to Rob O'Donnell for doing a great thing. Thank you to the nursing home, personal care home that did it. Thank you to Pastor Kelly and Howell Lussey Funeral Home. And really special thanks to Rob Bresnahan and his wife Chelsea for going to the service. They called and said, well, could you send a representative? And Rob Bresnahan tells Rob O'Donnell, I'll do you one better. I'll be there. And damn it, he was there. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Heartwarming. Beautiful. and a complete counterpose to these idiots protesting based on lies. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. Elvis Presley. Murph says this date, 1956. He appeared on TV for the first time. The Dorsey Brothers stage show on CBS. Elvis performed Shake, Rattle, and Roll and two other songs. Comedian and stage show producer Jackie Gleason, how about that? Remember that name? Said of Presley, he can't last. I'll tell you flatly, he can't last. Well, the great one, he did. Bob Cordaro back with you. And of course, this is the anniversary of the United States Coast Guard. What an amazing service they are. I think about those and I forget what the name of the Kevin Costner movie was, but they just show you what these guys do. It's unbelievable. Our great, great, great Coast Guard. So I tell you all the time, and right now it's 9:30, Picardo Jewelers time, but I tell you all the time about their watches, and it is the best watch store I've ever been in. But let's say this, they do so much more. And Valentine's Day is approaching. Fellas, let me tell you, I want to do you a favor. Get your Valentine a thoughtful gift from Picardo Jewelers Scranton. Trust me, rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, birthstones. They help you find just the right thing for your Valentine. Do it right this Valentine's Day. Get it at Picardo's. We'll take a break and be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, dutifully, patriotically, loyally, brought to you by our friend John Basiliga. Featuring today his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. 3 amazing bar restaurants, the best in class. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. The Far Street Tavern, the reimagined neighborhood bar and neighborhood tradition. The Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. Great food, great people, great fun, great service. Fine dining, yep. A modern take, one of the most gorgeous restaurants you'll ever see. A Terra 519, downtown Scranton. It's an experience. Stegmeyer Mansion. Go back to the Gilded Age in an incredible mansion on South Franklin Street for the best in fine dining. Joseph Salerno. He was from Exeter. We lost him at age 83, December 29th. Born in Bridgeport, Connecticut, graduate of Exeter High School. He went on to study at Wilkes College. Prior to retirement, he worked as a systems analyst for the Metropolitan Life Insurance Company. Member of St. Anthony of Padua Church, the Corpus Christi Parish. After schooling, he went on to serve his country and all of us in the United States Army, earning the rank of corporal. He was a member of the American Legion Duryea Post, one of the best. Preceded in death by his beloved wife, the former Claire Brennan, back in 2024. Joseph Salerno. Paul Achman. We lost him December 30th at age 87. He was from Kingston. Passed away at our great Veterans Affairs Medical Center, Wilkes-Barre. His loving wife is Margaret Ann Marge Davis Achman. They had celebrated their 53rd wedding anniversary on December 2nd. Born in Wilkes-Barre, raised in that city, graduate of the former Marymount High School class of 56. Following high school, he enlisted with the United States Air Force, serving all of us during peacetime. He had a decade-spanning career in banking, Franklin Federal, 32 years, becoming a vice president of mortgage loans. Eventually, he gained employment with Lake Ariel Bank, the great L.A. bank. Worked there as a mortgage loan officer until retiring in 2002. After retirement, he went on to serve as a mortgage consultant with Walling Mortgage Services. Oh, he was involved with so many organizations, the American Institute of Banking, Institute of Financial Education, Mortgage Bankers Association, you name it. ARC of Luzerne County, local Girl Scouts Council, devout Catholic, longtime member of St. Ignatius Loyola Church, Kingston. He wanted to be a banker back from when he was a kid. He had a lighthearted nature. Always remember for concocting nicknames for everyone. Better known as Achmanisms. Paul epitomized the role of family man. Loving and devoted husband, father, pop-up, brother, and uncle. He treasured family gatherings. Left to cherish his memory, his wife Marge, and their 2 children, 3 grandsons, and many other family members. Paul had specific instructions for his funeral service. No ties for the guys, and 2 shots of Jim Beam on ice when you get home. Paul Achman, our great veterans this hour, brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker, brought to you by our great friends at Montage Mountain Resort. It's humming. They're firing in all cylinders on Montage Mountain. And when I think weather, I think Montage. When I think Montage, I think, well, what's the weather? Today, a mix of clouds and sun with a chance of flurries, 17 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and very cold, low of -5. Thursday, partly sunny, 15. Friday, partly sunny, 15. And I talked to a friend of mine that skis, and he said, you know, I got to tell you, even when it's single digits, I'm moving. It's warm. It's fun. And the conditions are amazing at Montage. Our weather brought to you by Montage Mountain, because Montage means weather. And few. A version of Toccata and Fugue in D minor, Johann Sebastian Bach. Anybody remember on MASH when it was good? Radar? Bach. Well, he died this day, January 28th, 1750, and our man Fred Duckman let us know, and the Bulldog dug it up. And before that, I got to tell you, I absolutely love this guy, Wes Austin. You could follow him on Instagram. Wes Austin. He's really good. He just calls it out. And it's just what idiots these people are. They're just idiots. Run by childish emotions instead of any sense, any logic. It's scary. It really is. We have adults walking around like children. You would swear they've got to be wearing Depends. They have to be, because they might not know when to go to the bathroom. They really might not. So next time I see an ICE protest down at Fetterman's office, I'm going to go down with a box of Depends, all size, just to help these people out. Scary stuff. Hey, well, the weather, it's not the greatest, is it? But I've got somebody who's got a cure for your winter blues. She really does. And that's Tina Morocco. And she is with Sotheby's International in Naples. And she's selling dreams, warm weather, and a beautiful place in Southwest Florida for retirement, or if you want to be a snow bunny. And here she is. Tina, how are you? Great to have you back.
Thanks, Bob. I'm doing well. How are you?
In a lot of ways, not as well as you. Another beautiful day in Naples, I guess.
Well, we're probably about 50 degrees warmer than you are.
Does it get boring?
Mm-hmm. Does it?
It never gets old, does it?
No, it doesn't. Not for me.
Well, Tina Morocco, she's global sales advisor at Premier Sotheby's in Naples. And she's a lawyer. She's done all kinds of things, but she's settled in to be a superstar in Florida real estate. I don't know. What's on your mind today? What do you want to let our listeners know about Tina Morocco and Premier Sotheby's and buying a house, or at least looking at properties down in Southwest Florida?
Yeah, well, why don't we talk about a little bit about like the areas that I cover? And
Please.
I know your listeners, have been to a lot of these areas, but I'm based in Naples, but I also sell a lot in Marco Island, in Fort Myers, in Estero, in Bonita Springs, Cape Coral. So any of those neighborhoods, that's my territory. So if you're coming down to visit, feel free to reach out and connect with me, because these are great areas.
Now can they find you online?
They sure can. Yeah. My website, tinamorocco.com. You can just Google me. I come up almost instantly because of all my advertising. But yeah, they can find me, and they can find a lot. My websites have a lot about the different areas and a lot about the properties available. So they can kind of explore and see what's out there, not only what properties are available, but what to do in the neighborhood.
Tina Morocco's with us. She's with Sotheby's International in Naples, but she sells all of Southwest Florida. A lot of people figure, I could never afford. Couldn't afford it. Couldn't swing it. Couldn't make it happen. Tell me, what do you say to them?
Sure. Well, in these areas, we have all different types of price points, and we have all different types of properties too. We have everything from, small condos, 1-bedroom condos, to all the way up to estate homes. So really, there's something for everyone here. Whether you're a golfer, whether you just want to be at the beach, or whether you just want to relax and be in the sunshine. There's a lot of different properties for all different types of people.
Well, Tina, you've been doing this for a while. You're one of the tops down there, and you know you've been awarded all kinds of things, top producing agent, all that kind of thing. But you've got roots here. You've actually lived part of the year up in Scranton.
Yes, absolutely. We purchased a home in Scranton. We live pretty close to Naog Park. The reason for that is my husband is originally from Scranton. Lots of our family members still live in Scranton, so we love spending time up there. Love going to, the restaurants and doing all the things that Scranton has to offer. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So Tina, they could get you. I see one of maybe your easiest mail is Tina 1287. Well, Tina 12878 at gmail.com. Tina 12878 at gmail.com. And then, of course, look you up, Tina Morocco, Muracco.
That's right.
We want people to know that you want to sell them something from Northeast PA.
I want to meet them. I want to get them out of the cold, get them in the sunshine, and vitamin D.
Absolutely love it. Tina Morocco, thank you very much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Bob. Take care.
All right. Tina Morocco, Sotheby's International, Naples, but serving all of Southwest Florida. We'll take a break on the Bob Cordaro Show. We'll be back. The Platters, this date, 1956. Murph says that the number one R&B hit with that fantastic song, The Great Pretender. Good stuff. Good stuff. So you got to wonder about these, I'm trying to get to the thought processes of the left-wing follower. Now, the left-wing leader, they've always got an agenda. Now, the agenda, when somebody like Trump is in office or someone normal is opposing their sickness, is to create chaos. And then a lot of people, and I'm going to put this goes to normal people who aren't paying close attention. They say, I've had enough of the chaos. Let's go with the Democrats. Like people thought they were getting with Biden. And because the media didn't publicize it, you got more chaos, not only actual chaos at the time, but the cover-up extended to the future chaos like now that is being created. Like the open borders and letting criminals in and no vetting. Put dangerous people on the streets. You've got to remember this now. And this is only the start of the litany of crimes of people who Biden let in. 11,000 plus murderers. Just does that sink in? It certainly does with me. That means they don't give a spit about the American people. They want chaos, and they need bodies because everybody's leaving their crappy states and cities, and they're going to lose power in Congress and in state representatives. So it's so insidious. They got the census to count non-citizens. And so as many as illegals as they could pump into the country, it covered up. There is an analysis that California alone would have lost 20 congressional seats if they didn't count illegal aliens. So there's a method to the madness and to the chaos they're creating. And by the way, they're never subject to it. And then all their friends with the NGOs and nonprofits are making a fortune servicing the illegal aliens. Whether they're providing meals, whether they're committing outright fraud, as we see in Minnesota, and it's everywhere, by the way. It's an amazing thing. They're taking the American dream and destroying it corruptly for their own purposes. And the people following, like the fools that were down here at Fetterman's office, woe be you if you're not getting paid to be there. Then there's really something wrong with you. If you're getting paid to be there, I have a hard argument saying, oh, don't do it, because they're paying good money. It's just an astonishing thing. We've never seen anything like it. We really haven't. And this isn't Donald Trump. This is a development. You know, people want to say, well, it's all TDS. No, it isn't. This is a development. Again, you reward activity financially. That's the NGOs and all of these things, left-leaning nonprofits. You reward it, you get more of what you reward, and our government at every level rewards it. Unreal. Well, my Picardo Jeweler watch tells me that it is 10 o'clock. We know what that means. That means the news. But guys, let me do you a favor. Get your Valentine a great gift from Picardo Jewelers in Scranton. Rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, birthstones. They help you found the perfect gift. Do it right this Valentine's Day. Get it at Picardo's. great good morning, everyone. My Bacardo's Jewelers watch tells me it's 10:08 a.m. here in the Northeast. This beautiful Wednesday, January 28th, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show, and I am he. And it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values. And with the help of our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga hospitality group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like veterans we lost this year and last, but celebrate today, thanks to John. Like Paul Achman of Kingston, Joseph Salerno of Exeter, Lieutenant Carol Marie Lazzari, Jefferson Township, Eugene Barchese, Dunmore, Joseph Gushewitz, Scranton, Thomas Kosholik, Wilkes-Barre, the Brookside neighborhood of Wilkes-Barre, I might add. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense, promising you that our commitment to common sense will provide a sanctuary of sanity for all for the balance of this morning. And this hour of the program, brought to you by Tina Morocco of Sotheby's International, Naples, Florida, covering all of Southwest Florida. You can get her at moroccotina@gmail.com. You can talk directly to her or just Google her, Muracco. Tina, obviously. But you see the strategy. That's why I played that little vignette. It's so clear and it's become so apparent and so obvious. And they're admitting it. They're admitting it. By the way, somebody says, can we get an update on last night's meeting of the Luzerne County Council? Well, right on cue, our friend Walter Griffith is checking in, and he can tell us a thing or two about that. Walter, how are you, my friend?
Good morning, LTS to you, Bob.
LTS back at you, brother.
Listen, I just think the listeners need to pay attention. In Luzerne County, elections do have consequences. And unfortunately, we ended up with a far-left liberal county council majority currently on our council, and they're already trying to make changes to our beautiful county to make it go to their liking. Last night, they had a discussion about the election protection ordinance, which is a big farce, which is nothing more than a feel-good ordinance to flex their muscles, to try and intimidate people in the county, not only in the voting booth, but also anybody else who's a worker. They're calling it an election worker protection ordinance, but I see it going down the road where anybody who challenges any election worker, whether it be a minority, majority inspector, or a judge of election at a poll, would be sequestered, shut down, and we would lose our ability to fix any of the problems. And they had their drones show up last night, 30 of them or so, from the far-left group, making statements that were totally false, as you know they will.
Yep.
Making statements about how this is going to protect the poll worker, and you know, they don't feel safe. And first of all, the poll workers are all elected officials, most of them, unless they've been appointed. So they're elected officials. The minority, majority inspector, and judge of election are elected officials, and so is the machine operator. So therefore, they are not governed under anything other than the elected official law. So I don't understand the hyperbolic nonsense that they're saying about we're protecting the voter.
This is a cover-up for the mistakes that keep happening over and over and over again in Luzerne County elections. Every election, there's another problem.
Yep, and now that we have this history of bad elections or mistaken elections or whatever you want to call them, now the voter, who may be a poll watcher, doesn't even have the ability to question them for fear that they'll end up getting a fine, getting hauled into a courtroom, and it doesn't protect the poll worker. The constable at the polling place protects the poll worker. The judge of elections in charge. So you could have all the ordinances and everything that you want. The day of elections, you can't stop anybody from doing anything nefarious at a polling place short of calling 911. So this is all a smokescreen by the far left to try and take control. And they threatened the elected officials at the council meeting last night to say, if you don't vote for this, we're primarying you.
And,
so
and
we
what
have
was
Democrats.
what was the end result? What was the vote?
The vote was 9-2, 9 against it, 2 in favor. Of course, Joanne Smith, Councilman Smith, is running for the 120th district against Brenda Pugh. She definitely should not even be considered after that display of far left diatribe, attorney nonsense that she did. She sat there and said, "I'm an attorney," and went on to put her attorney hat on and tried to bully everybody with her attorney
but it
nonsense.
Failed. It failed, though, Walter.
Yeah, but it failed.
All right,
absolutely
Walter,
failed.
one thing the audience has to understand this. Luzerne County is ground zero for the left. They've funded these county council positions to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars over the last 2 elections to get left-wingers in there, to get the Republican majority out. It was a fractured majority, but a majority nevertheless. And now they've succeeded. And this is the area they want to destroy next, above all in the country. That's the amazing thing. People have to realize that, again, you're living in ground zero, not voting or voting Democrat for these council seats and other offices is playing into the far left's hands.
And the next thing they're going to bring, it was on the work session last night also, is a resolution to abolish ICE in Luzerne County.
Dear Lord.
To make a recommendation to ICE that they don't want them coming into Luzerne County and shooting people. That was the diatribe. They don't want them coming in here and threatening our people in Luzerne County, because look at what's happening in Minnesota. If we don't get in front of this, we're going to end up just like Minnesota. And that's what these left-wing people are saying at county council meetings and using their muscle that they paid to get these people elected.
Yep.
And if you don't do what we say, we're not going to get you elected again. And it's really sad. So the people of the county need to get off of their couches and start paying attention to these meetings and voicing their opinions and strong opposition to this, or we're going to end up in a situation much like Minnesota, I'm afraid.
Against the will of the majority of people, because the majority of people don't get involved.
Correct, and that's the problem. They are capitalizing on the fact that the majority of the people and the people who are opposed to this don't have the money, A, to fight them in court, and B, don't have the time frame or the bandwidth to get out there and fight them in a public meeting, because we're all busy working and trying to take care of our lives. And I think it's unfortunate that when they ran for office, they didn't tell us they were far-left wackos. What they told us was, it's all about Luzerne County and we're going to make this place a better place. But in the back of their minds, they're saying, if we can take the majority, we can get our agenda.
Well,
that's what they're after.
We have a bunch of clowns and paid protesters marching outside of Fetterman's Wilkes-Barre office. And here's what the local rag said, an article by James Halpin. Shame on him unless he got edited beyond comprehension. It said the event was intended to express opposition to aggressive immigration and customs enforcement and customs border protection enforcement tactics that have led, the tactics of the federal agents have led to violent clashes, not the opposition and the failure of local officials in Minnesota to allow ICE into the prisons and to provide a security perimeter for federal agents to do their jobs. No. It's about, and they write it in the paper as though it's true. Yeah, we've got a true, serious problem because we've got disgusting newspapers on top of all that.
Well, and we have people that are gullible, people that call in on the phone and they come into the council meetings and they believe everything that they're fed instead of doing any research. So this Action Together group calls their minions and say, you got to call up and do the scripted diet. And so they give them a script to read at the podium. They don't even know what they're reading, but they're reading what they were given because they're plants. They're people that are told this is what you must do if you want to get funding.
Or they're paid to do
really
it.
Sad.
And you're right. This is from some of the money is from well-meaning people who will give money to something like Action Now. Some of it is from the disgusting billionaires, and it trickles down to groups like Action Together Northeast PA. Unbelievable. Well, Walter, thank you. Listen, keep
You're
us
welcome.
apprised. Keep us apprised. We've got to save Luzerne County from the left, and they are attacking it, and it is under assault like never before because they've watched it go now 4 times for Trump. And man, scary.
Yep, it is. We gotta be diligent. We can't leave our guard down because how Luzerne County goes, so goes Northeast Pennsylvania.
Hey,
and we need to make sure
let our guard down in the last election, and look what happened. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. All right. Thanks, Bob. I appreciate the time.
Walter Griffith,
Bye-bye.
and I hate saying the former controller, but that's who he is, our man Walter Griffith. Let's take a break. Bob Cordaro, WILK. We will return. Well, the Challenger disaster and Reagan's amazing speech capping off that frightening day. I remember it. I remember like it was yesterday. And I remember watching family members who had watched the liftoff from Cape Canaveral. And no one knew what happened. The horror of it was beyond comprehension, was beyond anybody's thoughts. And it just looked like, well, maybe this is part of the mission. 73 seconds in. Again, you know how memories are. I believe I watched it live. And then it was all over. And we lost astronauts Francis Dick Scobie, Michael Smith, Krista McAuliffe, Judith Resnick, Ronald McNair, Ellison Onizuka, and Gregory Jarvis. This date, 1986. And I told the Bulldog, we called an audible. I said, let's play Bach, maybe more fitting for the story, who died January 28, 1750, says Fred Duckman. So thank you for that, Fred. Yeah, amazing. Let's get to a couple of texts. You guys have been very interesting today. Somebody says, Trump can overthrow the Venezuelan government in one night, but for made-up reasons, he can't arrest and prosecute Don Lemon for a crime he is literally on camera committing. Somebody says, and Mayor Fry has no intention of working with the feds and stopping the madness. He wants to keep it going. Disgusting, says Cabinet Guy. Yes, it is. Somebody says WBRE has gone left wacko, too. Look at their Facebook post. Well, I mean, I wouldn't look at Facebook. I watch the news, and it's sort of good. Certainly, again, Channel 16's gone. As long as they have the people running that newsroom, and I'm not talking about the people who deliver the news. As long as they have the people running that newsroom that are running it and running that station who are apparently running it, it's going to be left-wing wacko. Anti-Trump, anti-Rob Bresnahan. I mean, just think of it. A congressman shows up to a funeral of an unknown with his wife and spends the time to sit through the service, doesn't even garner a mention. Insane. Another, hey, Bob, how many of us have jobs that would allow us to protest like that and leave work all the time? It's ridiculous. Anyone who thinks that these people aren't getting paid, bunch of left-wing lunatics. Oh, there's some soft heads who are retired and going to these things because they're stupid. Literally stupid. Why they choose to be, I don't understand it. Someone texts in, Bob, since President Trump took over, the media has less power and no credibility. This is why they despise all Republicans. Trump called them out for their bias and lies, and the liberal media doesn't know how to deal with it, so they disparage and ignore any Republican. Somebody asking, Bob, does Picardo replace watch batteries? Is that too low end for them? No. Nothing's too low end for them. They do the job. They fix watches. They repair them. They'll clean them. All that stuff. Rich McHale tells me our Pennsylvania governor, now this is an hour ago, was on MS Now. He said if ICE comes to Philadelphia, they'll be ready. He didn't say in what capacity, but said they will protect people. What people? I'm telling you, this Shapiro is a lowlife. He's a liar. He's a phony. He's a left-wing lunatic. Remember, same guy who gave $5 million to a radical Muslim group in Philadelphia to buy them off with our money. The same guy who releases more than one TikTok per day on your dime. Somebody else texts in, to those who find Alex the nurse their new saint. 2 points. One, maybe look to God for strength, peace, and guidance. Yeah, instead of a fool like that. Number 2, just because you're a nurse does not make you a good person. Just look at the gaggle of nurses saying what to put in syringes to hurt and possibly kill ICE officers in their care. Oh, I saw that. Disgrace to the profession. An amazing profession, They've got sick people in it and dumb people. Bob asked Tina, does she do anything in the Northeast or the Poconos or just Florida? I think she does in Northeast and Poconos also. Ask her. Ask her. You go to moroccotina@gmail.com. Bob, I'd love to win tickets for Manilow. However, I can't listen to that morning show for 3 seconds. I'd rather listen to a polka marathon. Well, there's nothing wrong with a marathon, polka marathon. I'm going to look into whether we could give away some Manilow tickets. That's Cutie's favorite, or at least her old favorite. I'll look into it. Somebody says, how do you know the 11,000 were murderers? This was on Biden administration statistics. Oh, there was hundreds of thousands let in under Biden, known criminals. And again, a normal person will say, no, that's not possible. And they can't. Oh, yeah. Because they needed to pump them in so fast to protect Democrat seats from going away. Again, because people are leaving New York City. People are leaving New York State. They're leaving California. They're leaving Democrat-run areas, Minneapolis, because these people are insane and they will lose power. They're leaving Philly. Yeah, Josh Shapiro, we're going to protect our people. We'll be ready. Holy cow. Think of this. Oh, we'll be ready when those federal officials come in to enforce the law. What a sick, he's mentally ill. One of the listeners says, I know this is going to be controversial opinion, but I give the people of Minnesota credit, even though I 100% disagree with them and think the way they're handling it is 100% wrong. But at least they're standing up for what they believe. That's a lot more than what Republicans do. Republicans just say we need to vote, which never changes anything. I've got to call you out. I've got to call you out. It's not a controversial opinion. It's a muddled opinion, with due respect. If you 100% disagree with someone, that means they're wrong. And we prove to you every day on this show that they are, in fact, 100% wrong. If someone pursues something which will harm fellow Americans, fellow citizens, which is what the Minnesota mayor, attorney general, and governor are doing, Minneapolis mayor, then they're wrong and they're not to be respected. Their opinion isn't going to be respected. Period. Give the left-wing lunatics credit because they know how to do insane things and somehow convince a decent amount of people and people who aren't paying attention that they're doing the right thing. Let's take it that far. Dear Bob ALTS, I legally carry my firearm to church on Sundays. I will not put up with 1 second the crap that went on in Minnesota. Somebody would die immediately. Well, be cautious. Please be cautious. Somebody else on that note, if we don't start seeing prosecutions and perp walks, I'm not voting Republican. I won't vote at all. Not Muser, not McCormick. Stop that. Stop that. Really, stop that. You're going to please tell me there's no difference? Please, don't tell me there's no difference. It's insanity versus sanity. You can't turn the Queen Mary around that quickly. You can't do it. They're doing everything they can as they can while trying to get criminals out of this country in the face of insane opposition, massive paid opposition, and sick oppositionists. Please remember that. Just keep voting. This is what happens. Republicans take that attitude. Oh, well, I'm not going to. And you screw everything up. Get the hell out and vote. Get the hell out and vote. That's why we lost the last election. Attitudes like that. Buck it up and let's get with it. We'll be back. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day. Brought to you by our friend of Northeast Pennsylvania, John Basiliga. Basiliga Hospitality is the company we feature today because we're heading towards the weekend already. I really can't believe it. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township, the Far Street Tavern, the Reimagined Tradition, and the Great Trips Park section of West Scranton. The Queen City Tavern, making downtown Oliphant sparkle. Check them all out. Fine dining, a Terra 519. I think I'll be stopping by tonight. Gorgeous, gorgeous atmosphere. Great people, great food. Another luxury restaurant experience, but very different because it's in an old world mansion, the Stegmeyer Mansion in downtown Wilkes-Barre. Amazing. Eugene Barchese. I knew who he was. He was from Dunmore. We lost him December 30th. He was living at the Geno Murley Center. He grew up in Dunmore and proudly graduated from Dunmore High School in 1963. He then enlisted in the United States Navy. From 1963 to 66, he served us aboard the USS Hissam, the USS Courtney. He was a storekeeper, third class. His service to his country remained a point of deep pride throughout his life. Following his honorable discharge, Gene returned home and began a long and successful career as a salesman in the printing industry with AM Verityper. But he had an entrepreneurial spirit, and it led him to forge his own path. He opened Turtle Computers in Dunmore, I remember it well, where he loved helping neighbors and local businesses with their computer repairs and needs. He did it when nobody else knew what the hell it was. He's immensely proud to serve the community he cherished. His Dunmore roots were the source of lifelong joy. Devoted supporter of this Dunmore High School class reunions, proud member of St. Mary's Byzantine Catholic Church in Scranton and the VFW in Clark Summit. Gene is survived by his daughters, also survived by his beloved grandchildren, 5 of them, and many other family members. Gene Barchese. Second Lieutenant Carol Marie Lazzari. We lost her December 30th as well. She was 95, lived in Jefferson Township. She was the widow of Joseph Lazzari, who she lost in 2014. They'd been married for 54 years. Lieutenant Carol was born in Orange, New Jersey. As a registered nurse, she dedicated her life caring for others, first while serving in the U.S. Army, and then continuing to make an impression by working throughout the Scranton area. Avid reader, loved puzzles, doing crosswords. She's survived by her children, her 6 grandchildren. Sadly preceded in death by 2 sons, Brent and Michael Salt. Interment with right of committal and military honors were held at Fairview Memorial Park, Elmhurst Township. Mass celebrated at St. Catherine of Siena by the great Reverend Thomas Muldowney. Lieutenant Carol Marie Lazzari. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Stedeker, brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain, the place to be. Listen, it's winter. If you don't call Tina Morocco and move to Florida, let's enjoy the snow. Today, a mix of clouds and sun with a chance of flurries, 17 degrees. Tonight, partly cloudy and very cold, low -5, 13 outside the studios right now. Thursday, partly sunny, 15. Friday, partly sunny, 15. And that's the somewhat bleak weather forecast brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain Resorts, where if I think weather, I think Montage Mountain. I think Montage Mountain, I think, what's the weather? Well, it's great for what you can do at Montage Mountain. Murph tells us the Moody Blues, different song for them, almost, like a 50s sound. Go Now is the song. It was the #1 hit. This date, 1965. We'll take a break and be back. We got some callers we got to get to. Angela from Mattisville and Steve from Mahoopany. Just love saying that. The Rolling Stones. Murph says they were moving up the charts with their hit, Ruby Tuesday. Bob Cordaro back on the eponymous program. Poet Joe checking. He says the person playing the organ on the Johann Sebastian Bach song we played. I was going to call it Tutti de Capo Tutti, but no, Toccata and Fugue in D minor. And be celebrating, we're not celebrating his death, but celebrating his life on the anniversary of his death in 1750, thanks to our man Fred Duckman. But he says it's Virgil Fox. Well, and I'm sorry, Poet Joe, that version was not. The name was almost indecipherable, so I didn't, of the people doing the Bach version. No, but it wasn't that. But Poet Joe says he won an album at a carnival in something like 1970. Virgil Fox doing the organ. Pretty neat. Monday morning, Shapiro was on Good Morning America talking about his book and bashing Trump with George Stephanopoulos, yet our state was under a state of emergency. I know, the guy's a clown. Shapiro is a clown. Stacey Garrity for governor. Let's end the madness. Cabinet guy says any nurse posting that they should inject ICE agents with various materials should lose their licenses. Amen. Amen. I couldn't even believe it. Somebody says, Bob, I got to get to the phones, but I got to get to the phones. Let's get there. And let's get first to Steve from Mahoopany. Steve, thank you for your patience, my man. How are you?
Oh, great. Oh, great. But the world could be better. God bless you, sir. You're a great American. I love what you do.
Thank you.
Really
He has blessed me in spades. Thank you.
That's me as well. And I was just going to real quick comment about Tim Walz. Where was his Anne Frank spiel when he was shooting paintballs at the people during COVID
yes.
coming out of the house?
Yes.
You know,
I didn't even think of that.
House?
I didn't even think. He ordered people to shoot. He ordered his agents to shoot paintballs at people who went out on their porch.
Yeah. Good gosh.
Oh Lord, that adds even more richness to the irony of this jackass.
It's incredible, but the reason I called was the reason I called was a comment a caller made yesterday about why this is the Democrat Party. Obviously, they support LGBTQ, all the perversions, all the garbage that's happening, and it boils down to the electorate. We, the people, put these people in office.
Yeah.
So, to boil it down a little microcosm here, I'm a Catholic. I belong to a parish in Tunkhannock, and I walk up the community, and I just can't understand. I know several people, not all of them, that vote Democrat hardcore, and I think even our pastor is a little. From what his comments have made, I almost walked out of church a couple times, but that hurts me more than it does him. Anyway, so if you're at least a half-decent Christian or Catholic, how can you possibly support a Democrat? It just boggles my mind. I think it's a combination of many things. It's apathy, laziness, misguided, misinformed, but they need to get.
And don't overlook Trump derangement syndrome, because that's a part of a lot of these people.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But you can get over that if you just get the truth about things.
Fact, truth, and reality
is not their friend.
Fact, truth, and reality is not their friend, and they go and vote Democrat.
And it breaks my heart. I sit there in church, and I'm sad, but you know what? It fires me up. I get in the face of people with a smile. And you try, and their eyes just glaze over, and it's like you're just talking to a wall, and it's very frustrating.
Well, Steve, if you listen to the show, but I haven't said this in a while, but I say, look, if you run into someone, and just for example, because there's tons of examples, but I say if you run into someone and they're defending the border or pretending it was closed, I'd say that during the Biden administration, stop talking politics with them. They're not going to be convinced. They want to live a lie for whatever reason, and
That's
talk
true.
about cherry pie with them. Just move on.
That's true.
And
Well,
yeah,
it's our duty as well as voting to to save the country.
yes.
We need to engage in political discourse back and forth. That's what frustrates me. I mean, that's part of what we need to do to fight the good fight. And it's sometimes it's futile, and I want to throw my hands in the air, but I keep plugging on.
And Steve,
honestly,
you talk to the convincible, not to the people who are dead to fact, truth, and reality. You know, I always say this about my I had English bulldogs, and I said, look, he's got that short windpipe, he's got the bashed in face, he's got short legs. If I try to make him into a racing dog, I'm going to grow to hate him. Instead, I'm going to love him for what he is, and that's what I say to do with the left. Just love them for what they are, but don't try to make them into something that they refuse to be turned into. If they don't want to make sense of the world, if they don't want to face fact, truth, and reality, talk about cherry pie.
Yeah.
And that's my euphemism for anything else. Just
like the Bible says, dust your shoes off and move on. You're correct.
Exactly. All right, Steve. Thank you.
It's been a
by
pleasure.
the way, thanks for giving me the opportunity to say Mahoopany.
Oh, thank you very much. I like saying it too to my friends.
Isn't
it's great.
It's great. Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
Take care, pal.
All right,
Bye.
man. Hey, we got to go for the news because as I look at it, my Picardo watch tells me it's 11 o'clock. And I just want to say, guys, let me do you a favor. Get your Valentine great gift from Picardo Jewelers in Scranton. Rings, necklaces, earrings, bracelets, birthstones. They will help you find just the perfect gift. Do it right this Valentine's Day. Get it at Picardo's. Great good morning, everyone. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me it's 11:07 a.m. here in the great Northeast. This beautiful but frigid Wednesday, January 28th, year of our Lord 2026. This is the Bob Cordaro Show. I am he, and it's a big day to fight for America, defend our values, and with the help of our man John Basiliga and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, to honor the brave who have made us and kept us free. People like the veterans we've lost this year and last, but celebrate today, thanks to John, like Lieutenant Carol Lazzari, Jefferson Township, Eugene Barchese, Dunmore, Paul Ockman, Kingston, Joseph Salerno, Exeter, Charles Gushowitz, Scranton, and Thomas Kasholik, Wilkes-Barre. So with history, our great founding fathers, and the incomparable Constitution of the United States of America as our guides, let us continue today's battle. Gaveling back to order this meeting of the Club for Common Sense after that brief news break and its adjournment, which we like to hear the news, even when it's left-wing ABC. But we're back, and we're going to provide a sanctuary of sanity for all of you in a world where paid protesters, paid activists, followed by soft-headed goofballs who don't explore the facts and the truth and don't want to live in reality are following. And you heard Caroline Levy. It's common sense. It's common sense, period. And before I get lathered up, I want to do Mother Teresa for January 28th, St. Teresa. She said, when we have nothing to give, let us give him that nothingness. Let us all remain as empty as possible so that God can fill us. The great St. Teresa, Mother Teresa. Amazing. She's just amazing every day. And it just makes it, I don't know, it makes everything work. Everything fits in with the great St. Teresa. It really does. So yesterday, about 5 o'clock, and I think it was his pastor, but a man by the name of Jeffrey Kalnes was going to be interred. And there was going to be a service at the Howell Lussey Funeral Home in West Pittston. Kelly Groves was the reverend from First United Methodist Church in West Pittston. And they said, this man has nobody. They let Rob O'Donnell know on his afternoon show. And Rob started reaching out to people in the Navy and veterans and all this kind of thing. And he started talking about it. And he passed it on to Crockett over at Froggy, which is the studio next door to mine. And the place ended up packed for this man who had nobody, Jeffrey Kalnes, but who served this country with honor. And honor to the point where, and I don't know what service or anything, but honor to the point where he's going to be interred at Indiantown Gap, which is hallowed ground as far as veterans go. It's just short in my way, but it's Pennsylvania's version of Arlington National Cemetery. So Jeffrey Kalnes had his service. Well, one of the people he reached out to, well, one of the groups was Congressman Rob Bresnahan's office. So he reached out, could a staff member maybe show up or just be there? Well, guess what? Our congressman and his wife, Chelsea, showed up, and they were at the entire service. And I got in touch with Rob Bresnahan this morning. I said, you've got to come on because you've got to talk about this. He does not want to self-aggrandize. He wasn't there for publicity. He wanted to honor this veteran who had no one. And to have a congressman show up at your funeral, your services, is beyond an honor. And I just wanted to acknowledge him for that. Our Congressman Rob Bresnahan. Rob, how are you?
Hey, Bob, good morning. And you know what? I think you summed it up perfectly. To see within a matter of 6 hours a veteran, Jeffrey Calmus, which we have been able to learn he was a seaman apprentice, and he was originally from New Jersey. And for the past 4 or 5 years, he was living at the White's personal care home in Bear Creek. And Pastor Kelly Groves put out a post on Facebook where Chelsea and I had both been tagged, and our WILK's own Rob O'Donnell had, reached out and said, "Hey, is it possible that you can send some staff to participate tonight and show support?" I said, "Well, Rob, they're all with me, but we can be there." We were in Monroe County all throughout the day yesterday, and I think it goes and speaks volumes to the character of what Northeastern Pennsylvania is about, how we salute our veterans, we stand for our veterans, we appreciate what they have given to our country. And to go from just the people from the White's Funeral Home to having standing room only inside, we didn't go because of wanting recognition. We wanted to go and support someone who fought for this country, a Navy veteran. And you know what? That's what Northeastern Pennsylvania is about. It could be 6 degrees outside. There could be 1.5 feet of snow. And we show up. We care. And we appreciate what they gave for our country. And to be able to see this veteran off in his time of need was just something really special to be a part of. We didn't want to be a part of the program. We just wanted to be there with the community. And I'm just happy that we were home this week and we were able to participate.
Well, that was beyond touching. And by the way, it's just one of those things I guess you get to do as a congressman representing this area. It's one of the things you get to do that is not political, but that is absolutely the most important thing you could have been doing that time. And you've got so many demands. And by the way, you got to have your own life too. But you put it aside, yourself and Chelsea, and went to this veterans service. Someone you didn't know.
Well, I'm very blessed.
Yeah.
I'm very blessed. I have a partner that was also willing to put her life essentially on hold, because this isn't a job, Bob. This is a life. I mean, today we will do another 14 hours all throughout the district because we are home for just such a finite period of time that, we did 351 visits, meetings last year, and we were in D.C. for over 170 days last year because this is our home, and it's really doesn't need to be overcomplicated to just do the right thing. And we were around. We were able to get back in time. And you know what? This is service above self. This is not about what Chelsea and I or our team could have been doing. We were in a position to be there. And you know what? I never wanted to be recognized for attending this. We just wanted to stand with our community and a veteran who served our country. And I think that's what Northeastern Pennsylvania just emulates. We care. We work hard. And we're there to support our community when it's needed.
Yogi Berra said famously, words to this effect. He said, "Well, you got to go to their funerals, otherwise they won't come to yours." but Rob Bresnahan, so much going on in D.C. You guys, the House, with a lot of leadership from you, and we talked about this last week, has passed appropriation bills for the first time in 30 years. It's incredible.
Yeah, we just spoke earlier. I mean, man, time flies when you're having fun here, but we just talked about this monumental undertaking and passing 12 full appropriation bills. And certainly what happened in Minnesota was not on the forecast of what we were going to be anticipating. But there are major wins for Northeastern Pennsylvania. And you know what? I think the Senate, the first plan is they are having their first procedural vote today, with the full Senate vote on Friday, with the anticipation of us returning back to Washington Monday to get back to work. But obviously not knowing exactly what the Senate will do. I've learned at this point, after now being in Congress for a year, to never forecast or anticipate what the Senate is going to do or not do. But we'll be ready to, roll back up our sleeves and get back into the trenches and get something done.
Well, you have this asinine Democrat Party in the Senate and Democrat leadership. And by the way, exclusive of John Fetterman, the only sensible person in the entire Democrat caucus of the Senate, that is going to try to torpedo the government and shut it down again because they don't want ICE funded.
Well, if you remember the last government shutdown, remember the whole narrative by Democrats was Republicans control the House, Republicans control the Senate, Republicans control the presidency. This is a Republican shutdown. Now, all of a sudden, the Democrats are going to shut down the government. So what changed? And secondly, for our Senator John Fetterman, I empathize because the same usual paid protesters that are outside of our offices have gravitated over to
Yes.
Senator Fetterman's offices,
Yes.
because what else would anybody be doing at 11 o'clock on a Tuesday afternoon? So that is what the current landscape looks like. It sounds like he has indicated that he plans on supporting for the final passage of the four-bill minibus that we had passed through the House. And, we can have different conversations about legislative priorities and where the future of ICE should be. Should body cameras be implemented? There's about 20 million in there just for the deployment of body cams. But these are all things that we can be doing through the legislative process. And by some estimates, it's close to 80% of federal employees, again, will go without being paid. But it'll go without almost a 4% raise for our troops. The FAA, the DOT, everything that we were speaking about during the last government shutdown, you just can't hold the American people hostage.
You don't run across Chuck Schumer, do you, in your travels down there?
I've seen him in person once, and he was scurrying through in his motorcade to go join an angry mob that was very upset about something in front of the Capitol.
Well, they've always said the most dangerous place to be is between Chuck Schumer and a camera.
I bet he's got about a 9-foot vertical if there's something obstructing his path.
Well, Rob Bresnahan, thank you so much. You're our congressman. We love you. And this was a touching tribute to Jeffrey Kalnes, really the veteran who had no one when he passed away, but had a congressman, his wife, and veterans, and a crowd at his services last night. And thank you so much for being part of that.
Well, it was truly an honor to be there. And there are so many other veterans that have found themselves in similar situations. So huge kudos to the pastor for putting out the post, and Northeastern Pennsylvania. Thanks for caring about those who served us.
Amen. Rob Bresnahan, our congressman. We'll take a break and be back. It's the Bob Cordaro Show. me sad. January 28th, 1974, Murph tells us Paul McCartney and Wings released their hit Jet. I don't know half the words, but I love the song. And that was Donald Trump in 2020 this date, releasing his Middle East peace plan alongside Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu. No one's done more for peace in the Middle East than Donald Trump and his administration. And I will point out that despite being so strongly in favor and support of Israel, its existence, and its ability to flourish, he has the ultimate respect of the Arab world. It's amazing. They appreciate strength. The Arab world in particular, the Muslim world in particular. Amazing. My man John sent me this, and I've just got to read it quickly before we get to the blower. A few facts for our friends on the left. It says nobody in American government is a Nazi. Donald Trump is not a Nazi. People who support Trump are not Nazis. Repeatedly making this absurd claim does not make it true. Nobody supports fascism. Nobody wants to live in a fascist country. Enforcing the law, even when it's laws you do not like, is not fascism. Law enforcement who enforce laws which you do not like are not the Gestapo. Donald Trump was democratically elected. He won more votes. One of the main reasons Trump won more votes is that he promised to enforce immigration law. He is now enforcing immigration law. If you are resisting enforcement of immigration law, you are not resisting fascism. You are resisting democracy. Obstructing law enforcement is not peaceful protest, and you cannot intentionally create chaos by obstructing law enforcement and then blame law enforcement for the chaos. ICE is operating effectively and without incident everywhere except Minneapolis. Everywhere. And by the way, including the rest of Minnesota. It's also operating everywhere except where the left is trying to cause chaos. Stop creating chaos, and chaos will end. Thank you, John. Says it all. And says it all right up, straight up. Amazing. All right, we got to go to the blower. And he's been patient with us. Our man, Angelutz from Madisonville. Angelo, how are you, my friend?
Hey, buongiorno, buongiorno. Hey, we're having a heat wave up here, buddy. It's just lovely.
Did you
Yeah,
get
I
to
can't
double
wait.
digits in Madisonville yet?
Oh, you know what? I didn't even look. I don't even care. You know, I mean, I don't think I'm the sharpest tool in the woodshed because I should be in out west. The heck with south. You know what I mean? Arizona somewhere. You know
Well,
what
listen,
I mean?
Tina Morocco, she's the Southwest Florida guru. Get in touch with her.
Yeah, I'll just call my cousin in Arizona, tell him to send up his jet, and I'll fly down for free. What the heck with that? You know what I mean? I just, I called. I wanted to, anytime, I don't care what situation it is, anytime a human being gets killed, shot, and dies, it is a tragedy.
Yes.
And God bless his family. But you know what I learned a long time ago? And of course, you know me since we were kids. I had to learn everything the hard way. I didn't listen to Grandpa. And the thing is, when a policeman or anybody else in law enforcement says something, you say yes, sir, no, sir, right away, sir. It's like being married. You know what I mean? You get, I always got the last word being married. It's yes, dear, no, dear, whatever. Say, dear, right away, dear. But all kidding aside, you got to comply. You can't.
Yes.
You know what I mean? They're trained. They are trained. People don't understand this. Don't get drunk and stupid and cause problems, because they will beat you and they will arrest you. So you got to comply. And that's what I wanted to say today. You just have to. But what else I wanted to say is I tried to call in, but here you had it was all the best of Bob Cordaro. I wanted to tell you about January 3rd, 2026. The town of Moscow, they celebrated Russian Christmas. And every business and even the magistrate's office had some kind of entertainment. Robbie Walsh, he played with Chubby Checker for years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He's in Crimson Tears. He's a friend of mine. I went to North Pocono High School with him. Of course, I went to St. Anthony's for 150 years there. But the thing is, we did a gig from 5:30 to 8:45 in Ardito's dance studio. We it was a duo, me and him.
And you didn't let me know about it.
You know what? I tried.
You're
I tried.
slipping, Angelutes. Come on, man.
I know. I told a few people that know us, and obviously they didn't relay the message I wanted. But okay. I'll tell you what. You know what? There was a person that came in with a camera, and I didn't know if it was who it was. You know what I mean? I was trying to concentrate because I was actually singing at the time, and we were on the news. So I'm at the VFW, sitting there talking to my friends there. Great place in Delville, where veterans and Rob goes. And he's a veteran, and he loves your show, Rob and Don and.
Well, you're going to take me there. We've got this.
Yeah. Oh,
I'd love to go there when you're performing, but I'll go either way.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm sitting there. He goes, "You're on TV." I said, "Yeah, sure I am. You're full of crap." He says, "No, turn around and look. You're on TV." And they showed me and Robbie playing, but you couldn't hear us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bob, I'm telling you, the magistrate's office, Mr. Adcock.
I love Kip, yeah.
Yeah, Kip. He had a guy that performed there, all classical. He even did classical Christmas.
Nice.
He classical guitar, and I'm telling you, it seemed like he had about 20 fingers because he did everything with his both hands, picking with fingers. No picks, no electric. Yeah. Oh, it was phenomenal. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'm not as good as I thought it was, am I? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
to listen to that guitar, But when we were playing, I got done, and the girl said to me, a lady, she says, "I didn't know you could sing. How come you don't sing?" I said, "Well, I had to quit a long time ago singing. I wasn't allowed to sing." She goes, "What are you talking about?" And there was other people there. It was a break. And I says, "I just wasn't allowed." She said, "Well, why?" I said, "Well, because Frank Sinatra paid me a lot of money to stay out of the business, and she didn't laugh, Bob. Everybody else in the place laughed. And she looked at me. You know what she asked me? She said, "How much did he give you?"
Angelo, thank you, my man. Appreciate it, my
hey,
brother.
God bless you, buddy. Thanks
All
for
right,
what you
man.
do there with the veterans.
Always
man.
a pleasure. Thank you. Hey, let's hear from our great sponsors. We'll do our Veterans Tribute, the weather, and then we got a couple of calls I want to get to. It's the Bob Cordaro Show this hour, brought to you by Tina Morocco. And she's the Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International in Naples. So you want to get away? Give her a call. Our Veterans Tribute this hour and every hour, this day and every day, brought to you by our man, John Basiliga, and his great Basiliga Hospitality Group, because guess what? We're headed into the weekend already. Wow. Fine dining, the best, anywhere. A modern take, gorgeous, gorgeous restaurant downtown Scranton. You will feel like you're alighting from a coach, a Terra 519. Wilkes-Barre, same thing, but a Gilded Age take at the Stegmeyer Mansion, South Franklin Street, Wilkes-Barre. 3 great bar restaurants. Now that we got time with football winding down, Queen City Tavern, downtown Oliphant. The Far Street Tavern, the continuation and reimagination of an incredible tradition in the Trips Park section of West Scranton, the Far Street Tavern. The Old Brook Inn, 307 Springbrook Township. Events, dining, 2 great bars, amazing. The Old Brook Inn. Mr. Thomas Kasholik, who's from Wilkes-Barre's Brookside neighborhood, beloved brother, uncle, brother-in-law, pop, and cherished public servant. Born in Wilkes-Barre, one of 5 children, educated in city schools, a graduate of both the former St. Stanislaus Kotska Parochial School and the James M. Coughlin High School, class of 64. After his education, Mr. Kasholik proudly served this country during the Vietnam War with the United States Air Force, deployed on several overseas assignments. He held the rank of Airman First Class. This experience instilled in him a profound sense of duty and honor that he carried throughout his life. When he returned stateside, he entered the workforce with knowledge he gained in his service with the Air Force, employed by Pratt & Whitney Aerospace, East Hartford, Connecticut. He returned home to his familiar roots in Wilkes-Barre, taking employment with the City of Wilkes-Barre Bureau of Fire. It would be here that his sense of bravery, dedication to service, and public safety would shine. He served the residents of Wilkes-Barre for 27 years, becoming assistant fire chief at the time of his retirement. He was Wilkes-Barre's first certified emergency medical technician. Devoted to his Roman Catholic faith, he held membership in St. Peter and Paul Parish, Plains Township. He was an avid gardener, always sharing his abundance with his neighbors and family. He was a member of the Firefighters Local. His family will especially miss, and think of my mother and grandmother with this, his famous mushroom soup at Christmas Eve, the Wigilia, and his famous kielbasa, which he shared with his fellow firefighters. Left to cherish his memories, his sister, nieces, nephews, his caregiver, Karen Burke in Pittston, and many, many other family members. His children, grandchildren, and many others. Thomas Kosholik. Joseph Gushewitz. He died December 21st last year. He was 88. He was from Scranton. Born in that city, resident of the South Side, a 1955 graduate of South Catholic High School. Upon graduation, he entered the Air Force, where he served for 4 years as an aircraft mechanic in Texas, South Carolina, Turkey, and other bases. After his honorable discharge, he returned to Scranton, where he met the love of his life, Marita, on a blind date on New Year's Eve, 1962. They were married May 30th of 1964. They had 5 children. He was employed at McKinney Manufacturing for 40 years before retiring in July 2004. In his free time, he was a baseball coach at Connell Park and also served as a groundskeeper. An original season ticket holder for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Red Barons. He also had a passion for music, performing as a tenor with the Marywood Campus Choir for 32 years and the Northeast Choral Society for 30. His greatest joy was singing with his granddaughters at both Marywood and the Choral Society. Wow. Crossword puzzles, watching Jeopardy nightly. In addition to his wife, he's survived by his children, 11 grandchildren, a number of family members, and many, many friends. Joseph Gushewitz. Our great veterans this hour brought to you by John Basiliga and Basiliga Hospitality. Storm Tracker 16 forecast from meteorologist Joe Snedeker. Today, a mix of clouds and sun, chance of flurries, 17 degrees. It is 15 outside the studios as I speak. Tonight, partly cloudy and very cold, low -5. Check on your neighbors, please. Thursday, partly sunny, 15. Friday, partly sunny, 15. And that's your weather. Brought to you by our friends at Montage Mountain. When I think weather, I think Montage Mountain. When I think about Montage Mountain, I say, what's the weather? And they get it done. And this is prime time, guys. Everything is ideal there. And for me, the best is the Lodge. Absolutely love it. Randy Newman. This date, 1978, Murph tells us he moved up to number 2 with his spoof Short People. He also wrote amazing music for a number of movies, particularly animated movies. Randy Newman. By the way, that was attorney Andrew Branca, self-defense expert, and a guy that I follow, Officer Tatum, on Instagram. Great stuff. Hey, let's go to Jim in Hazelton. He's been very patient. Jim, how are you, my man?
Good. How you doing today, Bob?
Doing great.
I figured you were lathering up, so I figured I'd give you a call and get you a little chuckle.
Okay. You see,
You know me.
now it's like the old joke about the guys who they were in the club for so long, and they were telling the same jokes, and they just started saying numbers, and then they would laugh.
So I have two comments. One, I said the bulldog, with the second one. So I'm going to start with the first one that you know about on that bulldog wrote down, and that would be, we all know there's no fraud in the Somalian daycares in Minnesota because the kids are in their house hiding. Just ask Tim Walsh, he'll tell you.
That may be why there was nobody at the daycare centers.
They can be at the daycare, Bob, if they're home hiding. They're afraid that ICE is going to come and scoop them up. So they have to be home hiding.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the only reason, that's the only logical reason that why these daycares are empty when people go there during business hours and there's no kids there.
So there's not a scam. It's the children are afraid.
No, it's the children are afraid. Ask Tim Walsh, he'll tell you. If you just ask him, he'll justify it.
And I got to tell you, anybody that read the Diaries of Anne Frank and listen to Tim Walsh, you would want to punch him in the face about 30 times.
If I was Jewish,
he probably wouldn't wake up.
I would walk to Minnesota just to kick his ass.
Yep, exactly.
From out there, because that is highly offensive. Even if half of what you watch in the movies or even read in the books about that is true, even a half of or even a quarter of it, it's highly offensive. But back to my second thing, this is going to even give you a better kick.
All right, we're running out of time, so fire away quickly.
Next time you're speeding, you get pulled over by the cops. Just don't stop. Just keep driving until they eventually stop you, and then just tell them that you don't agree with the law.
Yep.
The radar gun they're using is unconstitutional. That they're a Nazi and a Gestapo, and you don't believe in the law. And then when they try to get out of their car, try to run them over and see what happens. I'm just going to figure out what's going to. I'd love to see what's going to happen. When they
Jim,
try that.
Good way to go into the break. Yes, you nailed it, my man. Thank you always, my friend. My Picardo Jewelers watch tells me we're approaching 11:50, and that means Bloomberg Money Minute. We'll be back. This hour of the program brought to you by Tina Morocco, Global Sales Advisor at Sotheby's International Naples. She is your Southwest Florida guru. You can reach her at moroccotina@gmail.com or just look up Tina Morocco on the internet. Google her. You'll find her. I do DuckDuckGo. Well, this date, 1985, 46 major recording artists came together at A&M Studios, Hollywood, California, to record the co-written Michael Jackson Lionel Richie song, We Are the World, for the album USA for Africa. Some of the performers included Bob Dylan, Stevie Wonder, Kenny Rogers, Tina Turner, Billy Joel, Huey Lewis, Diana Ross, Dionne Warwick, Ray Charles. Amazing. My man Mark from Hazelton checking in, and I had to tell him, he's sending me along these little puns and jokes. I said, I tell the jokes around here. Just check in with the Bulldog, and you'll know that's true. Hey, let's finish up. We'll go to Max from Dixon City. Max, we only got a minute, my man, but fire away.
Yeah, well, let me just put it this way. In the Bible, the crowd was influenced to choose Barabbas over Jesus Christ, the Son of God.
Yes.
We are losing. The American people are losing the power of the media and influence and the war on propaganda because the left have overtaken it. And everything they're doing, all you have to do is go online, infiltrate, their groups. And I did on one. It was called Consensia de Classe, and it interviewed a lot of these foreigners saying they're going to bring guns to these protests because they have to take it back here, not at the ballot box. The Democrats brought in these people. They thought that they were going to be able to control them and get them to vote, and they're going to keep their mass wealth and all these corrupt shenanigans going on. They underestimated these people coming from third world countries that are lawless and communists. They're here to take over. They're here to kill us. And I think the Democrat Party, the head honchos there, are starting to realize that now. Because on The View today...
Do you think they care? They don't care. They don't care.
I think they care about power. I think now they're worried about losing power. I think they realize they unbuckled an enemy that they can't control. Remember in the movie The Dark Knight Rises, or it was the one with the Joker, and his guy Pennyworth, he said to him, when dealing with the Joker, sometimes we don't understand our enemy. You don't know where this guy is coming from. They don't care about wealth. They don't care about anything logical. They just want to see the world burn.
Yep.
These people from third world countries just want to see the world burn because they've never had anything.
And they've got useful idiots and paid stooges who are following their agenda. Max, thank you, my man. Yeah, we got to fight it. That's what we're here for. We will fight it. We will win. I'm sorry, so many great texts I just don't have time to get to because the Sue Henry show is next, Rob O'Donnell after that. And I want you to thank Rob O'Donnell for putting together that great appearance and, of course, our Congressman Rob Bresnahan on behalf of the forgotten veteran who passed away and had services last night. Great, great stuff. Guys, have a great afternoon. I've got to say goodbye for now. God willing, I'll be with you tomorrow morning. But for now, we must say adios and gavel to a close this meeting of the Club for Common Sense. Have a great afternoon.